You won't believe these cars were ever built. Here are 7 rare American cars that almost disappeared from history. Number 1 is the 1969 Stutz Blackhawk. The first time I saw this car, I honestly thought it had to be a movie prop. It didn't look like something designed for ordinary roads. It looked like the kind of car a comic book billionaire would drive while wearing a tuxedo and arriving at a private casino. Everything about it was exaggerated. The hood seemed to stretch halfway across the street. The long front end looked almost endless. The spare tire mounted outside the body gave it an old-world luxury look, while the massive chrome grille made sure everyone noticed it coming long before it arrived. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't practical. It wasn't trying to blend in. The Stutz Blackhawk existed for one reason: to make a statement. And what a statement it made! At the end of the 1960s, most American manufacturers were chasing muscle cars, sports cars, and affordable luxury sedans. Stutz decided to go in the complete opposite direction. Instead of building something ordinary, the company wanted to create one of the most extravagant automobiles the world had ever seen. Money wasn't supposed to matter. Comfort wasn't enough. Luxury wasn't enough. The goal was simple: build a car so outrageous that nothing else on the road could compete with it. And they came surprisingly close. Every Blackhawk was largely hand-built, which meant enormous amounts of time and craftsmanship went into each car. The interior looked more like an expensive private lounge than the cabin of an automobile. Rich leather covered almost every surface. Real wood trim surrounded the dashboard. Thick carpets, polished metal details, and handcrafted finishes gave the car an atmosphere that felt closer to a luxury hotel than a production vehicle. Stepping inside didn't feel like entering transportation. It felt like entering a private office on wheels. Then there was the price, and this is where things became truly unbelievable. The Blackhawk wasn't merely expensive, it was one of the most expensive American cars money could buy. In fact, depending on the year and options, it could cost more than a Rolls-Royce, making it a symbol of extreme wealth rather than practical transportation. For most people, owning one wasn't even a dream. It simply wasn't realistic. Only celebrities, business tycoons, athletes, and the ultra-rich could even consider writing the check, and many of them did. The Blackhawk became one of Hollywood's favorite status symbols. Actors, musicians, entertainers, professional athletes. If you wanted everyone to know you had made it, arriving in a Stutz Blackhawk certainly got the message across. It wasn't uncommon to see famous faces stepping out of one at exclusive events. The car became almost as famous for its owners as it did for its design. But despite all the glamour, the Blackhawk wasn't perfect. Its styling divided opinions from the very beginning. Some people thought it looked magnificent, elegant, powerful, timeless. Others believed it was simply too much chrome, too much length, too many dramatic design elements competing for attention. The exposed spare tire looked like something borrowed from luxury cars of the 1930s. The long front end seemed almost cartoonishly long. The massive grille dominated the front end. Instead of following modern automotive trends, the Blackhawk celebrated excess. It proudly ignored the idea that less is more. Driving one was an experience unlike almost anything else. This wasn't a nimble sports car. It wasn't designed for tight corners or high-speed racing. Its mission was completely different. The Blackhawk was built for grand entrances, for slow drives through city streets, for pulling up to expensive hotels, for making everyone stop and stare. It wasn't trying to be the fastest car. It wanted to be the most unforgettable. And in that mission, it absolutely succeeded. Ironically, the very thing that made it famous also kept it rare. The astronomical price limited production dramatically. Only a small number were ever built, meaning most Americans never even saw one in person. Many people have spent their entire lives without realizing this incredible machine even existed. Today, the 1969 Stutz Blackhawk has become one of the rarest and most fascinating forgotten American luxury cars ever created. Collectors admire it not because it was practical, not because it was efficient, not because it changed automotive engineering. They admire it because it represents a time when one company had the confidence to ignore every rule of conventional car design. It was bold, it was extravagant, it was unapologetically excessive. It looked like it belonged in a billionaire's garage instead of a suburban driveway. It cost more than a Rolls-Royce. It became a favorite of celebrities, and decades later, it still has the power to make people stop, stare, and ask the exact same question. How have I never seen this car before?
Number 2 is the 1965 Bill Thomas Cheetah. The first time you see this car, you immediately realize this is not a normal sports car. It looks like someone took a Chevrolet Corvette, sent it into a secret military research facility, and brought it back as a completely different machine. The body is low, the windshield is tiny, the front end is almost impossibly short, the rear looks stretched and aggressive. Everything about it screams one thing: speed. But the most unbelievable part isn't the design, it's what is hiding underneath. Because the Bill Thomas Cheetah was built around one insane idea. Take a powerful American V8, move it as far back as possible, and create a lightweight racing machine that could destroy European sports cars. And that's exactly what happened. In the early 1960s, American performance cars were becoming famous for one thing: raw power, huge engines, straight-line speed. But when it came to road racing, European cars like Ferrari and Porsche had a major advantage. They were lighter, more balanced, built specifically for handling. Bill Thomas, a legendary Chevrolet performance engineer and tuner, wanted to change that. He believed American power could compete with European precision. So instead of simply adding a bigger engine, he created something completely different. The Cheetah wasn't designed like a normal production car. It was almost like a racing experiment. A lightweight tube frame chassis, a compact body, a powerful Chevrolet V8, and an engine placement that looked almost impossible. The engine was pushed so far back that it sat incredibly close to the driver, almost behind your shoulder, almost inside the cockpit. It created a weight distribution unlike anything most drivers had experienced before. The goal was simple: put the weight exactly where it needed to be. Make the car lighter, make it accelerate faster, make it corner harder. And on paper, it was brilliant. The Cheetah was unbelievably fast. Because the car was extremely light and packed serious American horsepower, the acceleration was brutal. It didn't slowly build speed, it attacked. The combination of a small body and a powerful V8 created a machine that felt more like a race weapon than a road car. Compared with larger American muscle cars of the era, the Cheetah was completely different. Those cars relied on big horsepower. The Cheetah relied on power plus a lightweight design. It was an American answer to European racing machines. But there was a problem, a very big problem. The car was almost too extreme. The same design choices that made it incredibly fast also made it difficult to drive. The short wheelbase, the rearward engine placement, the enormous power, the lack of driver assistance, all of these things created a machine that demanded respect. This wasn't a car that gently warned you when you were approaching the limit. It could suddenly become unpredictable. A mistake behind the wheel could turn into a serious problem very quickly. It was not forgiving. It was not designed for casual weekend driving. It was a race car wearing a beautiful body, and race cars don't always care about making the driver comfortable. The Cheetah also had another challenge. It was never built in large numbers. The project was ambitious, but creating a successful racing car from scratch was extremely difficult. Production was limited, costs were high, competition was intense, and before the Cheetah could become a major force, the project began to fade away. In the end, fewer than 22 examples were completed. That's it. less than 20 cars. A machine that had the potential to become one of America's greatest racing legends became one of the rarest forgotten performance cars instead. But maybe that's what makes it so fascinating. The Cheetah wasn't forgotten because it was boring. It was forgotten because it was too extreme. It was too ambitious. It was an idea that pushed too far ahead of its time. Today, the 1965 Bill Thomas Cheetah is considered one of the most mysterious and valuable American racing cars ever created. Collectors and enthusiasts admire it because it represents pure imagination, no compromises, no concern for comfort, no attempt to appeal to everyone, just a lightweight body, a powerful V8, and a crazy engineering idea. It looked like a Corvette from another universe. It drove like a machine built for a racetrack. It was incredibly fast. It was incredibly rare, and it was incredibly difficult to control. The Bill Thomas Cheetah wasn't just a car. It was an experiment that escaped from a laboratory, a dangerous, brilliant, unforgettable piece of American performance history. And the crazy part? Almost nobody ever got the chance to drive one.
Number 3 is the 1970 AMX AMX3. The first time you see this car, the biggest question is, wait, this was built by AMC? Because everything about it looks completely wrong. Not wrong in a bad way, wrong because you would never expect this company to create something this exotic. The shape looks like it came straight from Italy. The low nose, the wide stance, the dramatic curves, the aggressive stance. It looks like something wearing a Ferrari badge, not an AMC emblem. But that's exactly what makes the AMX AMX3 one of the most unbelievable forgotten American performance cars ever built. Because this wasn't just another muscle car. This was AMC trying to enter the world of exotic supercars, and almost nobody saw it coming. During the late 1960s, AMC was known mostly for practical and affordable cars. The company was fighting for attention against giants like Ford, Chevrolet, and Chrysler. They had the AMX muscle car, which was impressive, but AMC wasn't considered a serious competitor in the exotic sports car world. Then, suddenly, they created something completely different, the AMX AMX3, a machine designed to compete with the world's best, a car that looked ready to challenge Ferrari, Lamborghini, and Maserati. And the crazy part, AMC actually got extremely close. The idea behind the AMX AMX3 was ambitious. AMC wanted a true mid-engine supercar, not a modified muscle car, not a sporty-looking coupe, a real exotic performance machine. The engine wasn't sitting in front like traditional American cars. It was placed behind the driver. That was a huge change. At the time, most American performance cars were built around front engine layouts. Big V8 in the front, power sent to the rear wheels, simple, proven, traditional. The AMX AMX3 ignored that formula. AMC placed a powerful AMC V8 in the middle of the car, creating a layout similar to the exotic European cars dominating international racing. This gave the car incredible balance and a much more advanced driving character. It was an American supercar built with European thinking, and visually, it was stunning. The body looked like it belonged on a European auto show stage. The long, low shape hugged the ground. The wide fenders gave it an aggressive appearance. The cockpit sat forward, emphasizing the mid-engine design. Every angle looked dramatic. It wasn't just a fast car, it was a piece of automotive artwork. But then came the most surprising part. Underneath that beautiful body was still a very American heart, an AMC V8. So the AMX AMX3 had this incredible combination: Italian-inspired styling, European mid-engine engineering, and American V8 power. It was almost like AMC created a machine that combined three completely different automotive cultures into one vehicle. And for a short moment, it looked like AMC had created something legendary. But building a supercar is not easy, especially when you are a company like AMC. The costs were enormous, the technology was complicated, the market was uncertain, and the timing couldn't have been worse. The early 1970s were a difficult period for high-performance cars. Insurance costs were increasing, emissions regulations were becoming stricter, fuel concerns were beginning to change what buyers wanted. The era of unlimited horsepower was starting to disappear. A company like AMC couldn't justify spending huge amounts of money on a low-volume exotic car with uncertain sales potential. So, the dream began to collapse. The project was canceled before it could truly begin. The AMX AMX3 disappeared almost as quickly as it arrived. No major production, no widespread success, no chance to challenge Ferrari on the streets. Just a handful of prototypes left behind. And that's what makes the story so fascinating. The car wasn't forgotten because it failed on the road. It was forgotten because it never got the opportunity to prove itself. It was an unfinished chapter, a supercar that almost happened, a machine that was too ambitious for its own company. Today, the 1970 AMX AMX3 is considered one of the rarest and most fascinating American performance cars ever created. Only a few examples exist. Most people have never seen one. Many car enthusiasts don't even know AMC built something this advanced. And that's incredible when you think about it, because this wasn't just an AMC. It was a serious supercar concept. It had the looks of a Ferrari, the sound of an American muscle car, the engineering idea of a future performance machine, and a V8 sitting behind the driver years before mid-engine American sports cars became popular. The AMX AMX3 proved that AMC was capable of dreaming much bigger than people expected. It was exotic, it was aggressive, it was ahead of its time. But then, almost overnight, it disappeared. A forgotten supercar from a company nobody expected to build one. And maybe that's exactly why the AMX AMX3 remains so fascinating today. Because every once in a while, a car appears that makes you stop and ask, how did something this incredible almost disappear from history?
Number 4 is the 1964 Excalibur SS. The first time you see this car, your brain almost struggles to understand what era it belongs to, because it looks like something that escaped from the 1930s and somehow ended up sitting next to modern cars in a 1960s parking lot. Long hood, open wheels, exposed headlights, a tiny windshield, a body that looks like it came straight from a classic European race car. At first glance, you might think it's an ancient machine restored from a forgotten collection. But then you hear the engine, a powerful Chevrolet V8, and suddenly everything changes. Because underneath that vintage-looking body was a completely different kind of beast. The 1964 Excalibur SS was one of the strangest and most unexpected American performance cars ever created. It was a car that mixed old-world style with modern American muscle, a machine that looked like it belonged to another century, but drove like a serious sports car. The story of the Excalibur began with an unusual idea. Brooks Stevens wanted to create something different from the ordinary cars of the 1960s. At the time, many manufacturers were chasing futuristic designs. Cars were becoming longer, lower, and more space-age. But Stevens looked backwards instead. He believed there was something special about the golden age of racing, the era of dramatic shapes, hand-built bodies, classic proportions, cars that looked like mechanical works of art. So instead of designing a futuristic machine, he created something that looked like a tribute to the past. But he didn't want it to drive like an old car. That was the key. The Excalibur looked vintage, but underneath it was modern, and that's where the magic happened. The lightweight body was combined with a Chevrolet V8, giving the car performance that surprised almost everyone who experienced it. This wasn't just a pretty showpiece, it had real power, real acceleration, real sports car ability. The combination was unusual. A body inspired by 1930s racing machines, a powerful American V8, a lightweight construction. The result was a car that looked like it belonged in a museum, but could still embarrass many newer vehicles on the road. When automotive journalists tested it, many were shocked. They expected a stylish but slow collector car. Instead, they discovered a surprisingly quick and capable machine. The Excalibur could accelerate hard. It responded quickly. It felt much more aggressive than its old-fashioned appearance suggested. It was almost like putting a modern engine inside a classic racing legend. And that contrast became the entire personality of the car. From the outside, a vintage European racer. From behind the wheel, a powerful American performance machine. But despite its impressive abilities, the Excalibur had a difficult challenge. It was hard to explain, and sometimes a car that is too different struggles to find buyers. Was it a sports car? A luxury vehicle? A classic replica? A race-inspired road machine? It didn't fit neatly into any category, and that's what confused many people. Traditional sports car buyers often preferred vehicles with proven racing history. Luxury buyers wanted more comfort. Muscle car fans wanted something more aggressive and practical. The Excalibur existed in its own strange world, and because it was so unusual, it never became a mainstream success. The styling also divided opinions. Some people thought it was beautiful. They loved the dramatic design and handcrafted appearance. They believed it captured the romance of classic racing. Others thought it looked like a costume, a car pretending to be from another era, something that belonged in a parade rather than on a highway. But that's exactly what makes it fascinating. The Excalibur wasn't trying to follow trends. It created its own. It ignored what everyone else was doing and built something completely different. Today, the 1964 Excalibur SS is one of those forgotten American creations that almost feels impossible. An American-built car that looked European, a classic design with modern muscle, a machine that seemed to travel through time. It was too unusual to become a normal sports car, too advanced to be considered just a vintage replica, too strange for most buyers. But for the people who understood it, it was something special. The Excalibur SS proved that a car didn't need futuristic styling to be exciting. Sometimes the most interesting machines are the ones that look backwards while secretly moving forward. A 1930s race car body, a 1960s Chevrolet V8, and a personality that still feels impossible to copy. The 1964 Excalibur SS wasn't just a forgotten car, it was a time machine with a muscle car heart.
Number 5 is the 1974 Bricklin SV-1. The first time you see this car, you immediately think, this looks like something from the future. Because honestly, nothing about the Bricklin SV-1 looked normal. The shape was dramatic. The body was low and aggressive. The colors were bright and unusual. And then you noticed the doors. Gull-wing doors. The kind of doors that open upward like a spaceship. It looked less like a regular sports car and more like something designed for a science fiction movie. And that was exactly the idea. The Bricklin SV-1 was supposed to be the future of the automobile. A revolutionary sports car that combined performance, safety, and futuristic design into one incredible machine. But unfortunately, the reality was much more complicated. The story of the Bricklin SV-1 begins with one ambitious man, Malcolm Bricklin. He wanted to create something completely different from the traditional sports cars of the era. At the time, many performance cars focused mainly on speed and style, but Bricklin wanted to change the formula. His vision was a sports car that was safer, a car that looked exotic, a car that could compete with European performance machines while offering better protection for drivers. That is where the name came from. SV-1 meant Safety Vehicle 1. The entire identity of the car was built around safety. It was supposed to prove that a sports car didn't have to sacrifice protection for excitement. And on paper, it sounded brilliant. The SV-1 featured a strong safety cage, impact-absorbing bumpers, and a unique body made from colored acrylic materials instead of traditional painted steel. That meant scratches and minor damage wouldn't require repainting. The color was built into the body itself. It was a very unusual idea for the 1970s. The design was also unforgettable. The gull-wing doors immediately made it stand out. Instead of opening sideways like normal cars, the doors lifted upward. It gave the Bricklin a futuristic appearance that made people stop and stare. Park it next to ordinary vehicles of the era, and it looked like it came from another planet. But those amazing doors also became one of the car's biggest problems, because looking cool and working properly are two completely different things. The heavy gull-wing doors required a complicated hydraulic system, and unfortunately, that system was not always reliable. Some owners discovered that the doors could become slow, difficult, or completely refuse to open. A feature that was supposed to make the car feel like a spaceship sometimes made it feel like a machine fighting against its own design. The same thing happened with other parts of the car. The Bricklin had a huge amount of ambition, but the execution struggled. Production quality was inconsistent, fit and finish problems appeared. Some cars left the factory with issues that buyers did not expect from a futuristic sports machine. The car promised the future, but sometimes it arrived with problems that felt very much from the present. Then there was the performance. The Bricklin looked like a supercar. It had the aggressive shape, the dramatic doors, the exotic personality. But underneath, it wasn't quite the monster people expected. Early cars used an AMC engine, while later versions received Ford V8 power. The performance was respectable, but the design created expectations that were almost impossible to satisfy. People saw a futuristic body and expected Ferrari-level excitement. Instead, they got a unique American sports car with normal mechanical limitations, and that difference between appearance and reality became one of the biggest challenges. The SV-1 looked like a million-dollar exotic, but it wasn't built with million-dollar engineering. The biggest problem, however, was money. Building a completely new car company is incredibly expensive. Creating custom body panels, developing unique doors, setting up production, solving manufacturing problems, all of these things required huge amounts of investment, and the Bricklin company struggled to keep up. Costs increased, production slowed, quality issues damaged the reputation. The dream that started with so much excitement began collapsing. In the end, the Bricklin SV-1 had a very short life. Only a limited number were produced before the company shut down. The futuristic sports car that was supposed to change the industry became one of the most interesting what-if stories in automotive history. And that's exactly why it remains fascinating today. Because the Bricklin SV-1 wasn't boring, it wasn't ordinary, it wasn't forgotten because nobody cared. It was forgotten because it tried to do too much too quickly. It attempted to create the future before the technology and manufacturing process were ready. Today, the 1974 Bricklin SV-1 is remembered as one of America's strangest sports car experiments. A car with spaceship doors, a safety-focused design, a body made from unusual materials, a futuristic dream that couldn't survive reality. It looked like tomorrow had arrived, but unfortunately, tomorrow wasn't ready yet. The Bricklin SV-1 proved one unforgettable lesson. A revolutionary idea needs more than a great design. It needs reliability, quality, and a way to actually survive. And without those things, even the most futuristic car can disappear almost as quickly as it appeared.
Number 6 is the 1970 Cadillac Mirage. The first time you see this vehicle, your brain almost refuses to accept what you're looking at, because the question comes immediately, is this a Cadillac, or is this a pickup truck wearing a luxury suit? And honestly, the answer is both. The 1970 Cadillac Mirage was one of the strangest ideas ever created by the American automotive industry. Someone looked at the massive, luxurious Cadillac Eldorado and thought, this car is already huge, comfortable, and expensive, but you know what it really needs? A pickup bed.
And somehow, that idea became real. At a time when most automakers were focused on making vehicles more practical or more efficient, the Mirage went in the completely opposite direction. It was built around one simple philosophy: why choose between luxury and utility when you can have both? The result was a vehicle that looked like nothing else on the road. From the front, it was pure Cadillac, a massive hood, a long, elegant body, a huge chrome grille, the kind of styling that announced, "I have arrived." It carried all the classic Cadillac personality of the early 1970s, luxury, size, presence. But then you walked around to the back and everything changed. Instead of a normal rear end, there was a pickup-style cargo bed, a real open bed. Suddenly, the elegant Cadillac coupe had transformed into something completely unexpected. It was like someone took a luxury limousine, a personal coupe, and a pickup truck and decided, let's combine all three. The idea itself wasn't completely random. Cadillac already knew that many wealthy buyers wanted vehicles that matched their lifestyles. They didn't necessarily need a work truck. They didn't need a basic pickup. They wanted something unique, something that could carry luggage, golf equipment, hunting gear, or recreational equipment, while still providing the comfort and image of a Cadillac. The Mirage was designed exactly for that kind of customer. It wasn't built for construction sites. It wasn't designed to haul heavy materials. It was a lifestyle vehicle before that term was even popular. But there was one obvious problem. Nobody really knew what category it belonged to. Pickup truck buyers looked at it and thought, that's not a real pickup. Luxury buyers looked at it and wondered, why would I cut up a Cadillac? It was stuck between two worlds, too fancy to be a normal truck, too strange to be a normal luxury car. And that confusion made it difficult to sell. The proportions also created a very unusual appearance. The front half was enormous and elegant. The rear half looked like a completely different vehicle. The long Cadillac body mixed with the short pickup bed created a shape that was impossible to ignore. Some people thought it was brilliant. Others thought it looked like a design mistake. It almost seemed like Cadillac couldn't decide whether it wanted to go to a country club or a construction site. And that strange personality became the Mirage's greatest strength and weakness at the same time. Because while it was definitely unusual, it was also unforgettable. Underneath, it was still based on Cadillac luxury. The interior was filled with the comfort and style buyers expected. The ride was smooth. The driving experience was much closer to a luxury coupe than a traditional pickup. This was not a truck that wanted to work hard. It wanted to travel comfortably while carrying something interesting in the back. A set of golf clubs, a weekend adventure kit, some luggage, maybe even a motorcycle. It was about image more than capability, and that was a difficult concept for buyers in 1970. At the time, pickups were still strongly connected to work. They were tools, machines built for farmers, businesses, and people who needed practicality. The idea of a luxury pickup was still years away from becoming mainstream. Modern vehicles like high-end pickup trucks and luxury lifestyle trucks proved that the concept eventually worked. But Cadillac arrived too early. The market simply wasn't ready. The Mirage became one of those fascinating vehicles that appeared before people understood what they were seeing. It was too unusual, too expensive, too specialized, and because of that, production numbers were very limited. Very few people ever had the chance to own one. Today, the 1970 Cadillac Mirage is considered one of the rarest and strangest Cadillac creations ever made. Collectors love it because it represents pure automotive imagination. It wasn't designed by following trends. It was designed by asking, what if we ignored all the rules? A luxury coupe, a pickup bed, a giant American V8, a vehicle that made absolutely no sense and somehow made perfect sense at the same time. The Cadillac Mirage proved that sometimes the most unforgettable cars are not the ones that succeed. They're the ones that are crazy enough to exist in the first place. A Cadillac that became a pickup, a luxury car pretending to be a truck, a bizarre experiment that almost nobody remembers, but once you see it, you never forget it.
Number 7 is the 1970 Vector M12 prototype. The first time you see this car, you might honestly think it came from the future.
Because in the 1970s, nothing on American roads looked like this. It didn't look like a Corvette. It didn't look like a Mustang. It didn't look like any traditional American performance car. Instead, it looked like something designed for a science fiction movie about the year 2000. A car with sharp aerodynamic lines, a cockpit that looked inspired by a fighter jet, a body sitting almost impossibly close to the ground. Every detail seemed to say one thing: this is not just a car, this is a machine from tomorrow. And the most surprising part? It was created by a small American company that believed it could challenge the biggest names in the exotic car world: Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche. At the time, America had plenty of powerful vehicles. The country was famous for huge V8 engines, muscle cars, and incredible straight-line speed. But when it came to true exotic supercars, Europe dominated the conversation. Italian cars had the style, German cars had the engineering. America had power, but it didn't have a machine that truly made the world stop and say, this can compete with Ferrari. That was the dream behind the Vector M12 prototype. It wasn't supposed to be just another fast car. It was supposed to be America's answer to the supercar world. A vehicle built with aerospace ideas, futuristic technology, and extreme performance. The people behind Vector didn't want to follow the rules. They wanted to completely rewrite them. The idea was almost unbelievable. Create a supercar that looked like it came from another decade. Use advanced materials, focus on aerodynamics, build a machine that felt more like a fighter aircraft than a normal automobile. And when you look at the design, you can understand the ambition. The Vector looked unlike anything else. The front was extremely low and aggressive. The windshield stretched back like a jet canopy. The wide body gave it a powerful stance. The sharp edges and futuristic shape made ordinary sports cars from the same era look outdated. Even parked still, it looked fast. It looked dangerous. It looked expensive. It looked like the kind of car a billionaire villain would drive in a futuristic movie. But creating a revolutionary design is only the beginning. The hardest part is making the dream real. And that's where Vector's problems began. The project became famous for its huge promises. The company talked about creating one of the fastest and most advanced cars. The expectations were enormous. People were excited. Car enthusiasts wanted to believe that America was finally going to build a true exotic supercar. But behind the scenes, reality was much more complicated. Developing a completely new supercar requires massive amounts of money. You need engineering teams, testing facilities, manufacturing experience, reliable suppliers, a strong production system. And small companies often struggle with those challenges. Vector had the vision, it had the ambition, it had one of the most futuristic designs ever created. But turning that vision into a finished, reliable production vehicle became extremely difficult. The car's development was filled with delays, financial struggles, and constant obstacles. The dream kept moving forward, but the road became harder and harder. One of the biggest challenges was that the Vector had to live up to impossible expectations. When a car looks this futuristic, people expect something extraordinary. They expect revolutionary performance. They expect perfect engineering. They expect a vehicle that feels like nothing else. And that level of expectation can be dangerous, because even a great car can disappoint when the dream becomes too big. The Vector was supposed to embarrass Ferrari and Lamborghini. It was supposed to prove that America could build a world-class exotic. But instead, it became a symbol of how difficult it is to create a supercar. Still, the most fascinating thing about Vector is that the idea itself was incredible. This wasn't a boring experiment. It wasn't a simple failure. It was a bold attempt to do something almost impossible.
The designers were thinking decades ahead. The styling predicted the future of exotic cars. The low, aggressive shapes, the aircraft-inspired cockpit, the focus on aerodynamics. Many of these ideas would later become common in high-performance vehicles. The Vector looked like a car from the future because in many ways it was. It arrived before the world was ready for it. And maybe that's why it remains so memorable today, because even though the project struggled, the vision was undeniable. The 1970 Vector M12 prototype represented pure ambition. A small American company looking at the giants of the automotive world and saying, we can build something better. It was a dream of defeating Ferrari, a dream of challenging Lamborghini, a dream of creating the ultimate American supercar. The reality didn't fully match the vision, but the idea was unforgettable. A machine that looked like a fighter jet, a supercar that promised to change everything, a futuristic creation that appeared decades ahead of its time. The Vector M12 wasn't just a forgotten car. It was a reminder that sometimes the most fascinating machines are not the ones that succeed. They're the ones crazy enough to try.